Let's go ahead and talk about this because, well, I know for a fact that people are probably going to wonder how I feel about it. Honestly, I give no goddamn fucks, and here's why. Figured I'd do this in my usual rambling rant self, but no, we're going to be reading an article today, kids, and it's from Sports Illustrated. This is so big that even non-gaming websites like Yahoo and MSN or whatever is writing about it, so it really must be that big of a deal. Personally, I give no fucks anymore because this is the same fandom that wants to not let go of shit, but then will get mad at the most notorious things of all time. But I'll put in my own 2 cents after I read the article, so cue the music and let's get this show on the road. And yes, I did make this my own footage. Original copyright infringement, do not steal. Sega is delisting 74 retro games from Steam and consoles soon, including the Sega Genesis classics. Yeah, I'm going to see what to put the in there, like Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. Ugh. First of all, this collection was fucking terrible, okay? The online play was fucking terrible. You can't even play with someone that's in the US and Australia about the game having some of the worst netcode of all time. And even the sound quality in some games, particularly with Streets of Rage 3, is just...
How embarrassing!
Yeah, it's pretty fucking terrible. It also makes it even less acceptable that the PC version is the one that's going to get hit the most with this, since you can legally buy ROMs of these and play on a launcher that doesn't have the same shitty emulation as the poor old console versions, and yet even the Nintendo Switch version has even less games compared to the other ones. It's fucking retarded. This collection has good meaning to it, but it's just not a good collection in my opinion. When the quality is this bad and the netcode is even worse, I'm sorry, I refuse to acknowledge its existence. There's so many other collections you can probably play and not even give Sega a cent that will go into their pockets to fund something that will never come to life. Let's just go on before I turn this into another Yuji Naka rant again. Sega is removing 74 of its best-known retro games from Steam, Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation soon, and that includes Sega Genesis Classics. The Sonic maker made the announcement in a brief post and listed the games being removed, but didn't say what prompted the decision to delist so many games. You know, it's kind of funny that people were willing to defend the delisting of the original Sonic games, and I made a pretty big stink about it too, especially on the XCOM and in another video if I'm allowed to self-promote, because what the fuck is growing channel, right? People were okay with these versions being delisted because you have a new definitive way to play them. Well, guess what? The older versions of these games that probably won't get the same makeover is being removed for everyone who didn't buy them. So, how do you feel? Also, it's not like people have dumped ROMs of these. The internet is like the Hydra. You cut off one head and it'll be like at least 9 million more. It's not just some Game Boy Advance game that's being sold for $50 and people are going to probably dump the ROM of that too. Or even Nintendo homebrew games that rip off I Wanna Be the Guy. There's probably ROMs of those too. But I'll digress. Some are tied to projects Sega is currently working on, such as the Shinobi movie. Not gonna fucking say what I feel about that. And the Golden Axe TV series, which I'm also not gonna say anything about. So though it's possible the publisher has plans to repackage and push its retro library in a way similar to Konami with their Metal Gear and Castlevania bundles. However, that's just speculation at this point. No shit, it's fucking speculation. You know how many games got delisted because of license expiration or whatever reason that was deemed necessary and never got brought back? I have a feeling that a lot of these games are probably not going to be seeing the light of day again. At least, unless you bought them before. Hell, there's probably a collection spreadsheet that tells you exactly what games are on what collection. So, yeah. Also, isn't Sonic Mega Collection Plus on PC? Read more, the best video game movies of all time! You know what? Sure. Let's take a break from this ranting and see what are the best video game movies of all time. These are the best movies based on video games ever made. The Super Mario Bros. Movie, Sonic the Hedgehog, Detective Pikachu, Mortal Kombat, The Angry Birds Movie 2, Dragon Quest, Your Story, Ace Attorney, Resident Evil 2002, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Werewolves Within. Okay, with the exception of Werewolves Within, which I have never fucking heard of, and I dare someone actually justify saying that. Like, who the fuck asked for that zombie Xbox remaster game? Because I sure shit never fucking heard of it. And there was also an Ace Attorney movie in 2012 with the most, what the fuck, live action capture ever seen. These are all movies that are so unfaithful to the original source material it's not even funny. I could even mention how people were fine with Dragon Quest Your Story despite not having a trace of Arika Toriyama's art because the art is fine. Fuck you. Yeah, this writer is a fucking idiot. What isn't speculation is that the big delist happens on December 6th, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time / December 7th, 2024 at 12:59 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be praying or watching Pearl Harbor, the movie, with Ben Affleck. Most of the games on this list is just included in the collection, so... But a good chunk of these games are actually from another collection that Sega has made, which includes various HD versions of these Dreamcast games, so I might as well go over those specifically because I kind of have more to say about them compared to Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Dynamite Headdy, Fatal Labyrinth, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and of course Gunstar Heroes. Games I've literally played on Genesis and can probably play now if I want to. Normies just don't know how to set up emulators. This shit is not fucking Ryujinx or whatever Switch emulators out there. Hell, it's not even RCPS3, if I'm even saying that right. Crazy Taxi. This is obviously the biggest one because it's the one Sega game that people like besides Sonic, I guess. But here's the thing. This version was known to be quite awful simply because of removal of product placement, even though people complained about fucking NBA games having that now, and the fact that it doesn't have the Bad Religion soundtrack, making it the version of Crazy Taxi you can play at the expense of high-definition graphics. And all I'm going to say is that if you're one of those people that gets mad at in-game advertisements but doesn't want to play a Crazy Taxi game because it doesn't have KFC and Pizza Hut, you're fucking stupid. Jet Set Radio. Obviously a beloved game by Sega. I personally prefer Jet Set Radio Future. Yeah, safe to say that this game might not be so accessible nowadays, but hey, at least we have Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, the game that's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio, right? Even though it plays absolutely nothing like the fucking game. Whatever. Sonic the Fighters. People don't fucking like this game, okay? Even people who probably like fighting games don't even like this game, okay? The fucking character models, they might be low poly, but the arms and hands just growing massively big and slapping people. It's just another shitty Virtua Fighter clone, like how Midway was trying to cash off of Mortal Kombat having games like War Gods and Biofreaks and shit. It's fucking stupid. Sega did the same thing that Midway did, and people got mad at Midway for that, but not Sega. I don't care what history went into it, too. This game is not good. And the only reason this game is remotely acknowledged is simply because it was basically turned into a coding accident from Fighting Vipers, which is the original Virtua Fighter clone. And even the home version that's included on Sonic Gems Collection is so bare bones that even the port of Fighting Vipers is basically modeled off the exact same way, including the UI and shit. The only difference is that you can't easily unlock Dr. Robotnik and Metal Sonic, and they also moved Honey from the game because, I don't know, reasons. At least they let you play as those characters, but not in single player, and there's not even a stage select or a practice mode. I'm not expecting the game to have fucking World Tour or Survival Mode. Okay, maybe just the World Tour part, because obviously that would be too hard to implement. But still, it's just fucking crap. It's just yet another run-of-the-mill arcade game that Sega tried to cash off of, and it clearly has maybe a very select, delicate fan base, but this is literally one of those games you can probably play for like 5 minutes and never look back. Virtua Fighter 2. The original 3D fighting game, and yet it's based on the arcade version with them shiny graphics. If only there was a way to actually play this version instead of every other fucking collection having the Genesis version for some fucking godforsaken reason. Yes, it's cool that they made the game into 2D, but can we please play the real Virtua Fighter? Preferably with online play, and not locked to a shitty game series that only became popular because of reasons, and then having YouTubers twisting the narrative of voice acting and then ruining it for everyone else. Yeah, safe to say I don't care for Yakuza, and I don't care if I intentionally mispronounced it. Akiba Strip is better. But let's just wrap this up. And on Switch and PlayStation, Sega is removing the Sega Genesis Classics collection, which, like I said, was shit. Sega clarified that select individual classic titles will still be available for Nintendo Switch Online members, but didn't say which ones. Read more. Every Sonic the Hedgehog game ranked from best to worst. Sure, why not? Let's take another break and see what best Sonic game there is. Sonic Mania, of course it's on the top. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sure, why not? Sonic Rush, isn't the game on Nintendo DS? Sonic the Hedgehog 2, a game that could be seen as overrated, but it takes a bit of a drag to go through, unless you use Level Select. Sonic Frontiers, of fucking course. The game that everyone bitches about pre-alpha footage and then complains still, but except you can't. Sonic Generations. Alright then. Sonic CD, of course. Sonic Advance. Hey, an actual recognition of a good series that nobody fucking talks about. The original Sonic the Hedgehog. Alright. Wait a minute, how the fuck is Sonic Adventure 2 below Sonic Advance and Sonic the Hedgehog original? The adventure games are not as good as you remember. Oh god, it's a fucking Unleashed review over again. There we have to rip that band-aid off. I'll rip into the first game later. So apparently the original Sonic Adventure game is worse than Adventure 2. Oh boy, here we fucking go. Sonic and Shadows levels are by far the best, but there are many of them as you probably think there are, and so you'll be spending far too much time plodding around in Tail or Eggman's mech, or aimlessly wandering around hunting for emerald shards like Knuckles or Rouge. Each of these alternate level styles are fun every now and then, but after so long between a nice speed level, it really starts to grind on you. Okay, I'm in the camp that Adventure 1 and 2 are decent games. Depending on which game you think is harder to 100% is personally up to you. I personally say that Adventure 1 might be easier since you only have to beat a specific objective, whereas Adventure 2 you have to go for the level like 5 fucking times, get an A rank, and of course fulfill the objective. And once the racing levels can go fuck themselves, so that's another story. Even though Adventure 1's story was kind of weird if you try to put them all together, Adventure 2 at least tried to tell a story that was actually kind of serious and didn't completely go all goofball on you unlike every other fucking iteration of Sonic ever made. Also, this article fails to mention that the only reason that I personally hate the treasure hunting levels is because the game only lets you track one at a time, which is insanely dumb. Another fucking narrative that some YouTuber says that the Sonic Adventure game is not as good as you think, except they're still perfectly playable, it's just their gameplay alternatives don't hold up as well, but it doesn't mean the whole game is bad. Every game is like that. By this fucking logic, Bayonetta should be fucking crucified, no pun intended, because you have those shitty driving levels, shitty Space Harrier levels, and the shitty boss fights where you don't even actually fight on the ground. Oh, I'm sorry, you fight on water like it's some Ghosts and Goblins game. Whatever. Sonic Colors. Okay, thank God, I didn't use the seizure-inducing Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation versions, thank the Lord. Knuckles Chaotix. Yes, this is the one game that Sega refuses to remaster, by the way, which is fucking funny. Sonic Unleashed. Oh boy, I wonder if it's because of the beat-em-up sections take up like 50% of the fucking game, or the fact you have to collect Sun and Moon medals just to progress, and the fact that there is a speed stat in a Sonic game. Sonic Heroes. The same person writing this article wants to mention that the adventure games are not as good, but wants to put Sonic Heroes lower. I think this person might be onto something. Personally, having to go for the entire game 4 fucking times and collect emeralds is not that fun, but people swear that Sonic Adventure are the worst games somehow. At least I'm going to go through the stories once, and then more so if you want to get the 100% completion, which all I get is shitty Green Hill Zone. Wow. And no need to remind me that it was innovative then and annoying now. I still don't fucking care. Sonic Forces. Wow, this placement is actually deserving of once. The game was shit. And I'm not sorry for that. I love how there's like one sentence though. It just exists. Well. Sonic Adventure. While many 2D platforming mascots are struggling with the transition to 3D, oh my god, it really is the fucking Sonic Unleashed IGN review. Or GameSpot, whatever. Sonic managed to make just about every major mistake in the book. The controls are such a pain, not only does Sonic blast up at the slightest touch of the stick, but when the camera suddenly changes angle for no apparent reason, you don't retain the direction you were running. There's not even like any evidence of this. It's just complaining about the fucking game that didn't, of a game whose control didn't even come with a fucking second analog stick. This is really fucking petty. Sonic and the Secret Rings, of course. Sonic and the Black Knight, of course. I love how it's just one sentence, not even a sentence, 2 words. Moving on. Wow, this fucking person is really mature. Sonic Lost World. Alright then. Sonic Blast. Of course we're going to get into the Game Gear games. Like they're somehow the epitome of bad Sonic games. Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 fucking sucks. I don't fucking care what Cyber Shell says. They're fucking terrible. The first episode is maybe tolerable. The second episode is fucking shit. Get rid of it. Sonic 3D Blast. Isometric Sonic game. D. Sonic Boom. Yeah, the less said about the bro moment, the better. Shadow the Hedgehog. Somehow this game is even lower than everything else so far. Probably deserving this spot, but I'll digress. Oh look, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, otherwise known as Sonic 06. And of course in the fucking bottom of the list. How amazing. But it's the best Sonic game, we swear! Okay, then why did it fucking fail so horrendously, and why did it cause your wonderful company to go almost imploding or some shit? These fucking modern Sonic fandoms are all retarded. Whatever. Let's wrap this up. Bear in mind that Sega is just delisting these for future sales. Okay, this is bullshit. Let me fucking read that. Okay, so obviously this is a big deal for normies who have never played a Genesis game and don't know how to emulate for shit. I clearly do not care at this point because, first of all, it's not like these are the most spectacular games to have ever come out. They're just repackaged games that even your grandparents have played at some point, and I could boot up my phone right now and play Sonic Adventure. Right now. I'm gonna do it right now. Because I'm so sick of this crap where people complain about not being able to play the correct versions of these fucking games. Whine, whine, whine. Cry, cry, cry. So I'm gonna fucking disprove these stupid motherfuckers who want to go on about that. You shouldn't play these games outside of their intended platforms. Well, guess what? I'm about to break the fucking goddamn internet. Watch this.
Select a character. Let's get him.
Oh no, guys! I'm doing a naughty. Holy shit!
How to play as Sonic. The rules for the action stages.
It doesn't matter! Yeah, you're right. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter how you play these fucking games. Seriously. These fucking people who want to cry about, these games are being delisted so you can't give Sega your money. Well, it's not exactly fair to people who are going over websites that are basically terminating fucking downloads for games that you can't even legally acquire anymore. So that's fucking nice. Are people trying to turn the fucking Sly Cooper? Are we going to have a fucking arbiter of what you can steal and can't steal? And also, it's not really stealing if you're not getting anything of value. But hey, if you want to spend fucking $5,000 in fucking Earthbound, then you be my fucking guest. It's technically already part of Nintendo Switch Online subscription anyway, so either you spend $5,000 to some fucking loser, or you give the big head your money. You can take whichever one. I'm going to go with option number C, though. Whatever. Bad example, but you get what I mean. Alright, well, I think that's about does it. Sega can go fuck themselves, but I just kind of don't give a shit. If people are like, oh, you made a 20-minute video explaining why you don't care and you ranted your ass off. Okay. I'm going to play some more Sonic Adventure. And yes, the phone did survive. I did that shit the last time. Alright, Chaos. It is time to redeem myself. Get fucked. Fuck. Booyah!
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
That's sus! Alright, well that's enough of that. Oh, by the way, did you know the only thing that Sonic hates is oppression? Like, that's ever been relevant since fucking 1999?